Why are so many Americans angry about Maduro's capture if so many Venezuelans are celebrating it? Well, have you noticed that a lot of the celebrations you're seeing are actually from Venezuelans outside of Venezuela? This is in Buenos Aires, Argentina. This is in Chile. This is in Spain, Madrid. And the reason for that is kind of dark because since 2014, which is roughly when Maduro came into power, Venezuela has experienced one of the largest migration exoduses in recent history. Just imagine losing over 20% of your entire population. Since 2014, nearly 8 million people have left, making it one of the largest displacement crises in the world. And there is a fair reason why. Post-2014, the country's inflation spiked over 1.3 million%. And this was before the US sanctions hit. And it got much worse in the decade that followed. Their GDP shrank by about 75%, which is one of the largest contractions ever for a non-war country. They saw widespread poverty, malnutrition, severe shortages of food, medicine, and essential services, political repression. I mean, the list goes on. Venezuela is not poor today because it lacks resources, people, or skills. It's poor because its institutions collapsed. But here's the distinction. The vast majority of 2025 polls show that Venezuelans outside of the country support military intervention while those still living there don't. Then again, Venezuela did recently pass a law declaring anyone who expresses support for US military action a traitor. So that could have skewed the results slightly. But it's not just their location that split opinion. When pollers across Latin America were split into their political ideology, 79% on the right said that US military action was the best way to topple the Maduro regime, while less than 4% on the left said the same. The left said that diplomatic negotiations or social protests were the way to go. And that's where America comes in, because the biggest divide there is politics. While the first polls following Maduro's capture suggest that 41% oppose and 34% support, when you switch to the voters' politics, you'll see something very similar to those in Latin America. I mean, there's even protests breaking out in cities like New York with signs reading "No blood for oil." So why are Americans angry? Well, to put it bluntly, their country doesn't have the best track record for regime changes. And many Americans today still live with the memories of the devastating consequences those have caused in places like Cuba, Libya, and Iraq. They say that this is blatant imperialism, that this is a violation of international law, that Trump doesn't have the right to unilaterally say that their country is now running another sovereign country. But those who support this, including many Venezuelans, say Maduro was a murderous dictator that was ruining the lives of millions. And many are thanking Trump, saying that for the first time in decades, Venezuela is free and maybe finally they can return home. Because remember, it wasn't that long ago when Venezuela was one of the richest countries in Latin America. It had a higher GDP per capita than Spain, Portugal, Greece, and South Korea. But the question is, what do you think? Is this the beginning of Venezuela's return to its former